Somehow, in the House Oversight Committee, some Democrats released some emails from Jeffrey Epstein. What the hell is that? Now, the House Oversight Committee is run by our friend James Comer. Jamie Comer, I call him Jamie because we're friends. He's a U.S. representative, great state of Kentucky. I don't understand how somehow the Democrats released a bunch of emails or an email or something, and those who are in charge just had nothing to do with it. Now, Sam, do we know, did they leak this stuff or did they actually hand it over? What did they do?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure. It sounds like a leak to me.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like.
So let's go to ABC News. So keep in mind it's ABC News. It could be we put the F in news, but here we go. House Democrats released new Epstein emails referencing Trump. One of the emails in a 2011 message between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, written by 32 people at ABC News, had to write this, I guess. They used the obligatory picture of Epstein and Trump, the one that everybody uses. Sex offender Jeffrey Epstein referred to Donald Trump as the dog that hasn't barked and told his former companion Ghislaine Maxwell that an alleged victim had spent hours at my house, that's a quote, with Trump, according to email correspondence released Wednesday by Democrats today on the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Quote, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump, Epstein wrote in a typo-riddled message to Maxwell in April 2011. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Quote, I have been thinking about that, Maxwell replied. That email exchange, which came just weeks after a British newspaper published a series of stories about Epstein, Maxwell and their powerful associates, was one of the three released by the Democrats from a batch of more than 23,000 documents the committee recently received from the Epstein estate in response to a subpoena. The names of the alleged victims and other personally identifiable information were redacted from the messages. The other newly released email exchanges are between Epstein and author Michael Wolff, who has written 4 books chronicling the Trump presidency. Wolff has said he spoke to Epstein at length about Trump during his reporting of the book. Quote, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or scrum afterwards, Wolff wrote to Epstein in December 2015, 6 months after Trump had officially entered the race for the White House. Quote, if we were to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Epstein replied. Quote, you think it should be let him hang himself? Wolff replied the next day. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then he gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, is it possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime? Okay, a couple of things here. That's the big breaking news about Jeffrey Epstein. Couple of things here. Number one, it's important to know Biden was in the White House 4 years. In those 4 years, he had every right to release anything he wanted to release on Jeffrey Epstein. Merrick Garland could have released anything he wanted to release on Jeffrey Epstein, and Jack Smith, who was brought in to be the political executioner, could have released anything he wanted to release on Epstein. They didn't. We also know, and this is a fact check me, I dare you, Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of the Mar-a-Lago Club because Epstein was mistreating the daughter of a member of the Mar-a-Lago Club. So for mistreating females, he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. Now, when it comes to Epstein and Trump's connection, Maxwell has said there wasn't one, or there wasn't anything illegal or criminal that Trump was involved in. The female who's mentioned in this email, we now know, is the woman who ended up dead. Now, they said she killed herself. They said it was an accident, but her name was Virginia Giuffre. I think that Caroline Levitt mispronounces her name. I think she says Guthrie when she talks about it here. But it's Giuffre. This woman said in all of the investigation, Donald Trump never did anything unprofessional or wrong in her presence. So the female they're talking about him being in this house with for all those hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house says nothing ever happened. This is the same woman who was unafraid to say that Prince Andrew was somebody who was a pedophile that sexually assaulted her, according to her. This is somebody who was never afraid. No victim of Epstein has ever come out and said Donald Trump was in on it. He did it as well. So why would you implicate Prince Andrew, implicate all these other men, implicate Epstein and Maxwell, but not implicate Donald Trump. Why? Because maybe it didn't happen? So this story released today because Trump just won big time in the shutdown. He came out smelling like a rose. Again, what I said about Trump kicking out Epstein is verifiable fact. That's true. Nobody has ever said Trump has been involved in anything criminal in regard to Jeffrey Epstein, and Joe Biden, whose administration did everything it could to stop Trump from winning again in 24, did not release anything implicating Trump in its 4 years. You tell me why that would have happened. Well, better than that, let me get you the spokesperson for the president. She's asked about this today, Caroline Leavitt, in the press briefing at the White House. And then we'll be done with this. And by the way, let me reiterate what I've said for months. I want everything on Epstein to be released. And if Donald Trump did something wrong with Epstein, I'll be the first to be out there on the highest mountain yelling and screaming that he should not be the president. I know that by every account, and for the 4 years of Biden, they didn't release squat about Trump doing something wrong, because if they had something, they would have. Well, it would have implicated Democrats. No, you can redact everything but Donald Trump's name. You could have released it. And they didn't because, I don't know, maybe he doesn't exist. But Caroline Leavitt was, of course, asked about this today, and here's her response.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
President Trump does speak about this on Truth today. The Democrats are trying to bring up Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections on Epstein or to Epstein or anything else, and any Republican involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing this massive damage caused by the Democrats. He's right. Now, I want your thoughts. It's kind of interesting. They held on to this until the day of the vote to reopen the government because they can't give Trump a win. They can't give Republicans a win. They can't admit how ridiculous they were. Go to joepags.com/podcast. If you missed any of my podcasts, this radio show, all 3 hours is podcast later. Go and check it out. It's rising up in the charts every day. We appreciate you going and doing that. Follow it, download it, share it with your friends.